Gentleman for his point of order, and I'll attempt briefly to respond to each of the important points that he legitimately raises. First of all, in terms of timing, it seems to me that there are two senses in which that concern can be aired and needs to be answered. The honourable gentleman, if I understood the terms of his point of order correctly, was focused in particular on the issue of time in the sense of lack of it for members to study the bill and to table amendments. My response to that is to say the following. First of all, the honourable gentleman is a quite remarkably experienced, skilled and dexterous parliamentarian. Now, admittedly, not everybody has his level of experience, skill or dexterity, but I know that he wouldn't imagine that of which he is capable is completely beyond everybody else. In other words, if everybody else has got the opportunity to study the bill and to come to a view about whether they wish to table amendments to a bill whose basic subject matter was well known to them, they would be able to do that probably at least closely to his own level of acceptability, his own standard. That's the first point. The second point on timing is that, of course, it is intended that the bill will go through all stages today, but of course there are several precedents for that, and those bills have ordinarily been government bills and very often concerning Northern Ireland. But it is unusual, I accept. What it isn't is in any sense disorderly. The honourable gentleman has raised very important questions about money resolution and Queen's consent. Yes, this bill is different, but I have, of course, consulted the Clerk of Legislation and other senior clerks on whose procedural expertise we regularly call. My ruling on Wednesday, the 3rd of April 2019, in respect of the earlier bill which the honourable gentleman referenced, was at column 1131 that the European Union Withdrawal No. 5 Bill did not require either a Ways and Means motion or a money resolution. Extending the period under Article 50 of the Treaty on the European Union would continue the UK's rights and obligations as a member state of the EU for the period of the extension, which would of course have substantial consequences both for spending and for taxation. Clause 4, little 1 of the bill before us today would require exit day to be moved to match any extension agreed with the European Council. The financial resolutions passed on Monday, the 11th of September 2017, give fully adequate cover for the exercise by ministers of their powers under Section 23 and 24 of the European Union Withdrawal Act 2018 to move exit day in order to keep in lockstep with the date for the expiry of the European treaties, which of course is determined by Article 50 of the Treaty on the European Union. So far as Queen's consent is concerned, my ruling on Wednesday, the 3rd of April, at column 1130, was that as no prerogative consent was required for the European Union notification of withdrawal bill in 2017, giving parliamentary authority to the Prime Minister to take action under Article 50 of the Treaty on the European Union, there was no requirement for new and separate prerogative consent to be sought for legislation in 2019 on what further action the Prime Minister should take under the same Article 50 of the Treaty on the European Union. The bill before us today could require the Prime Minister to seek and accept an extension in certain circumstances, though it would still be up to the European Council to decide unanimously to agree to an extension with the UK. In these circumstances, and I say this on the basis of professional advice, my ruling is that Queen's consent is not needed for this bill. It will probably not satisfy or even humour the honourable gentleman when I conclude my response to him with what I'm about to say, but it is this. He will not be altogether surprised to know that we did consider these matters, not least in the expectation that they were legitimate issues that might be raised either by the honourable gentleman or by others. I have been advised, I am satisfied with that advice, and I would not rule unless I had asked the questions and got the answers. I have done. I have asked the questions, I have received the answers, and I have been satisfied that it is orderly to proceed and that the answers that I've given in respect both of the money resolution and of Queen's consent are correct. Point of order, Mr Nicholas Edward Cole.